Welcome to Go Beyond Betty. So today I was thinking it's time to make bread. It's time to let you in on some of my tricks and secrets, because if you know me, you know that I like the path of least resistance, and I want to do whatever is the fastest, most efficient way to do something. So I have developed my own recipe for bread. This is all sourdough, by the way. I use a sourdough starter, which I'll explain a little bit of that to you. There's tons of websites and tons of other YouTube videos that will show you how they do it. And this is just another method. It's how I do it. But I promise you, it will be the fastest and the easiest and tastiest way. So let's get started. All right, this is my sourdough starter. I used most of it the other day and fed it just a little bit, put it in the fridge for a couple days, and now it is hungry again. So it's time to feed it. And you can see there's just a little bit of a layer of liquid on top. That's called hooch. I'm gonna pour that out, and then I'm gonna add an equal amount of water and flour. Add a half a cup of water and a half a cup of flour. So I have about a half a cup of flour, half a cup of water, and then underneath is the half a cup of starter. So I just want to incorporate the two. All right, so I have pretty much all the lumps out. Cover this lightly. You can cover it tight, it really doesn't matter. And we're gonna let it just sit 4 to 6 hours. It's gonna double in size. So we can see there's just maybe 1 inch, and we'll check on it in a couple hours. All right, check it out. Here is our starter. I know that because it's doubled pretty much in size, I know that what it's doing is that culture is eating all the carbs in there. It's eating those sugars and creating gas. That's why it's developed so much height in there. It is bubbly, lots of extra bubbles, and I just need just the tiniest little bit, and to plop it in some water and see how it's floating. Now I know that it is ready, so now I can use it. So I'm going to start with, this is 3 cups of flour. I fluff it a little bit and then measure out a rough, not even exact, 3 cups of flour, because if I need more, I'll end up using more. Then I'm going to add probably about 5 teaspoons of salt, and this is the kosher salt. It is very, very light and crystally. It's a diamond kosher salt. It's a lot lighter than most salts, so I'm going to use quite a bit of it. And then I'm going to add just some plain water, and then about 1.5 cups of the starter. And I like to use a lot of starter because I like to use up a lot of my starter. So I have my flour, salt, water, and starter in here. And now I'm just gonna mix it. I'm just going to get it till it's combined. It might take me, that was actually about 25 seconds. So this is what I would say in the bread world is shreddy. See how it kind of looks like shreds. And I've just combined it with a spatula. So what I'm gonna do now, I can't really do this. Let me see. So I'm really just going to quickly combine. I'm sorry if this is moving too much. I don't even need it to be perfect. I just need it to be not sticky, not dry, but just roughly combined. And a lot of bread recipes that you see tell you to not put the salt in for a while. I tried that once, and 2 things. I didn't notice a difference, and I also forgot. I think I ended up, maybe I must have tried it twice, because I remembered once, and the second time I didn't remember, so I was like, forget about it. That's all I want to do. I'm not even going to knead it. That's it. I'm just going to leave it like this. Yeah, no, it doesn't look perfect. It doesn't need to. It needs to rest. So I'm going to give this at least a half an hour, cover it with some plastic wrap, and just let it rest. I've had this sitting for at least a half an hour, and you can tell it's gotten bigger. I washed my hands, and I did not dry them, and that is key. You want to have wet hands when you're working with dough. See, so I'm able to pick the whole thing up, and I'm sure there's many ways to do this. This is all I do. I just kind of continue to make it into a nice round, but I'm also squeezing it because I want to make sure that I've worked in the salt all over, because you saw I didn't really do much of a mixing job, but this is just getting it a little more pliable, and you can tell it's not sticking to my hands. So we should have the right amount of flour and water in there, and the gluten is starting to develop just a little bit, and that's it. And I'm going to let it sit in there again for at least maybe an hour this time. All right, so this has been sitting about an hour. You can see it's risen up a little bit. My hands are wet again. So I'm just gonna pull it out. It feels really good. And I don't wanna take all the air out of it. My goal is just to kind of divide it into 3 pieces. It doesn't have to be exact, because they're obviously not. That's all I wanna do. I wanna get it into 3 pieces, let it continue to rise, And then in another hour, we're gonna get them looking more like a baguette. So we left these rising for a little bit. They have gotten really big. And that's one thing with sourdough. Most people think it takes a day or two. These won't be as sourdoughy as maybe bread that I let sit out overnight or in the fridge overnight, but they sure do rise. So it's not really a problem. So I divided them by 3. I've washed my hands. My hands are wet. I want them to be as wet as possible because it's sticky dough. So we're gonna try and get just the one out that we had. And I want to do my best to keep the air in it and to keep it smooth. Again, I'm lazy is what it all boils down to. Gotta keep my hands really wet. And I don't wanna get the whole counter all floury and then roll them out, and then you gotta pinch them in a certain way so that they don't bust at that certain seam, yada yada. This is what I do with it. When in doubt, think like Auntie Anne's pretzels in the mall. Wing, wing, wing. There. I'm not promising you perfect looking baguettes. I am promising you delicious baguettes. So let's try this again. One more. Again, I think they work better the more air that they have in them, and to handle them as little as possible. That's why I'm kind of using gravity to help me. As soon as it starts to get sticky, get your fingers a little bit wet again. Otherwise, it's gonna be really ugly. Again, I'm not promising you gorgeous things. Just delicious. Ooh, that's my best one yet. Okay, one more. The last one should be fairly easy. And notice they're already kind of shrinking, so I will go back through one more time here at the end and pull them one more time. I did spray this with just Pam, a little non-stick cooking spray. Otherwise, they'll really, really stick. So I'm just gonna grab them again, stretch them just a little bit more. And that's it. I'm gonna cover them with plastic wrap, let them sit out for maybe an hour, 2, longer, whatever you want, and then you can bake them whenever they're puffy. So you can see they are huge. They have puffed up. It's been about an hour. I'm not really ready to bake them, so I'm gonna just put them in the fridge and they can go in the oven maybe an hour or 2 when I'm ready, and then go right from the refrigerator directly to the hot oven. Okay, it's been 10 minutes. It might get a little steamy. Hang in there with me. Just grab the paper, and I'm probably gonna rotate those around just a little bit. Steamy. If you like a super hard crust, you could always put a little saucepan, some kind of contraption with boiling water in there to get the outside crusty, but as you can hear, I don't feel I need to do that. So again, we sprayed this with Pam, so they really do just pop right off. I'm gonna throw them in the freezer and have them for a big batch night. So that's it for baguettes. Pretty easy. Not as easy as bread. I'll show you bread too. But baguettes are fun. Baguettes are nice because you can share them, especially if you have 3 and you're having people over for dinner. Most of the time, if we have like 2 other adults, you're going through at least one whole baguette and maybe a little bit more of another. Then you get to send one home with them, which is really nice. So thank you for joining me at Go Beyond Betty, where you are always taking risks in the kitchen. Look at you. You're going to be a bread baker now. You're going to be like the envy of the neighborhood. That one's like, so-and-so is making bread. And if you said hi to them lately, you might want to go over there and say hello. Share some bread, right? That's what the whole saying, breaking bread with people, is all about. I think. I really don't know. I'm just making that up. But again, thank you for joining me on Go Beyond Betty. And you're taking risks, and I'm very proud of you. Keep it up. Bye. Throw it into water, and it needs to float. Oh, shoot. It sank. I thought I had waited too long, and I did. And dump it into some, oh goodness, it's like snot. Dump it into, oh crap, why isn't it? Dang it, Gina.